Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening seminar in the 2017 Engage seminar series, Liverpool UNESCO World Heritage Site, a status worth fighting for. And welcome to this prestigious venue, which is the centre of our civic life in this proud maritime city. We're grateful to the city for allowing Engage to host our first seminar here, and to the Lord Mayor, Councillor Malcolm Kennedy, who graciously welcomed our UNESCO guest, Isabelle Anatole-Gabriel, upon her arrival here this afternoon. This very place itself symbolises the changes that cities undergo. The first recorded town hall in Liverpool was in 1515, and it was probably a thatched building. It was replaced in 1673. The present town hall was completed in 1754, and the architect was John Wood the Elder, who was renowned as one of the greatest architects in England at the time. In 1785, James Wyatt designed an extension and also the present dome. However, in 1795, before the new dome was built, the hall was seriously damaged by fire, and Wood's original building was gutted. John Foster then undertook the restoration and decoration of the interior, which was completed about 1820. We are in a Grade 1 listed building, described as, and I quote, one of the finest surviving 18th century town halls. The authors of Buildings of England series consider it to be, and I quote again, probably the grandest suite of civic rooms in the country and an outstanding and complete example of late Georgian decoration. We've chosen to hold each of the seminars in this series in a different part of the World Heritage Site, specifically to highlight the fact that though the substantive issue deemed to be impacting negatively on the outstanding universal value of the site is on the waterfront, the World Heritage Site isn't confined to that area. So we start here in the Castle Street Conservation Area and the Commercial Quarter, move to the waterfront next time, and finally head to the Cultural Quarter and St George's Hall for the third seminar. Our motivation in putting together these seminars has been to give UNESCO a voice in the city before we lose our status. We sincerely hope our UNESCO speakers will be listened to with respect. Despite the negative publicity the UNESCO position has received in the city over the years, there are usually at least two sides to every argument, and we felt it only fair that both sides should be heard. We're very familiar already with the city's position that we must pursue development and cannot be held back by concerns about heritage or conservation. We are less familiar with the views of UNESCO, who have been portrayed as being against our legitimate aspirations for progress. Today's first seminar asks the question, what is World Heritage status all about? A frequent comment I hear, even at times within the World Heritage Site Steering Group, is it won't matter if we lose the badge, as we will still be a world-class heritage city. I don't think residents, stakeholders, and perhaps at times politicians fully understand what it means to have been listed as Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City, UNESCO World Heritage Site. We want to focus tonight on the significance and meaning of that status. The more controversial question about development and conservation is the subject of the second seminar in 2 weeks' time. And then the third seminar, a month from today, will conclude the series with exploring the cultural and financial value of our heritage assets. Mayor Anderson's announcement on Monday of the setting up of a World Heritage Board is a welcome move, and we hope that his wish to reset the relationship with UNESCO is helped, supported, and encouraged by this seminar series. A city is made up of people, not just ideas or ideological positions. So regardless of where we stand on the question of World Heritage Site status, we all live in this place, and we must strive to get on together despite any differences we might have. And so I want to do something which we did in our last seminar series on citizenship, which we're going to build into all our processes. I want to ask you just to spend a moment introducing yourself to somebody new around you. Simply say who you are, where you're from, and why you're here. You've got 3 minutes, so please find somebody near to you that you didn't come with and just introduce yourself. Scousers do this very well. I hope you found that useful. Engage is a residents organisation, and we believe that building relationships in a city is critical. And we don't want to have just an event where you come and go and you haven't got to know somebody at least. So thank you for that. We will introduce our speakers in a moment, and then following their presentations, you will be given a few moments to buzz again like you've just done, to share your first impressions and reactions with those around you. Then we will go and ask our panel members for their brief reflections, following which I will open the discussion to everyone. We will try to bring the proceedings to a close by 7:30. Please tweet during the seminar, and the hashtag is hashtag Liverpool WHS. And we are at Engage Liverpool, so we'd encourage you to do that. Tonight's proceedings are being live streamed, so anybody who has liked our Facebook page and Twitter account will be able to watch these proceedings live anywhere in the world. And I know there are people from different parts who are very interested in what we're doing tonight. So I want to thank also our sponsors who've made this series possible: Red Wing Living and Alexander Wyatt Solicitors. Without them, we could not have put this on. So very grateful indeed. I want to first welcome and introduce our 3 local panellists this evening. So from the world of politics, we have Councillor Barry Kushner at the far end, Cabinet Member for Children's Services. Next to him, from the world of business and culture, David Fleming, the Director of National Museums Liverpool. And from the world of academia, Dr. Beatrice Garcia, Director of the Institute of Cultural Capital at the University of Liverpool. You're very welcome. We're very grateful for your presence. Now let me introduce our 2 guest speakers. Our national speaker tonight is Henry Owen-John, who is no stranger to our city and its World Heritage Site problems. He is Head of International Advice at Historic England since June 2014, and previously was Inspector of Ancient Monuments for North East England, before taking up management positions there from 1998. From 2004 to 2014, he was Northwest Director of Planning and Conservation with English Heritage, the predecessor body to Historic England. Henry Owen-John is an archaeologist by profession and a member of the Chartered Institute for Archaeologists and a Fellow of the Society of Antiquaries. From 2006 to 2016, he served as a commissioner on the Royal Commission on the Ancient and Historical Monuments of Wales, of which he was vice chairman from 2012. Our UNESCO speaker is Dr. Isabelle Anatole-Gabriel, Chief of the Europe and North America Unit at the World Heritage Centre in Paris since January 2016. She joined the World Heritage Centre in July of 2014 as Chief of the Policy and Statutory Meetings Unit, where her tasks included the organisation of the first Extraordinary General Assembly and the 20th General Assembly of the State Parties, during which the new electoral system of the members of the World Heritage Committee was adopted. Dr. Isabelle Anatole-Gabriel is alumna of the École Nationale du Patrimoine. She holds a PhD in the History of International Heritage and 3 MAs in Museum Studies, Archaeology, and History. A curator by training, she was seconded to UNESCO by the Direction des Musées de France from 1988 to 1989 and joined the organization in 1990. She served as program specialist in the culture sector, liaison officer of UNESCO Culture Office in Venice, secretary of the Plan of Action Drafting Group during the Intergovernmental Conference on Cultural Policies for Development, which gave us the Stockholm 1999 document, and author and coordinator of ICT issues for the 2 World Culture Reports. From 2000 to 2013, she was chief editor of the journal Museum International. Dr. Anatole-Gabriel is a world-renowned figure, and it is an honour and a privilege to have you here in Liverpool. You presented the Liverpool case to the World Heritage Committee in Krakow this year, and will do so next year at the crucial 2018 meeting. Please welcome to the podium Dr. Isabelle Anatole-Gabriel.
Thank you, Gary, for your very kind words. Good evening, everyone. I am very happy to be here with you tonight. When we build, let us think that we build forever. Let it not be for present delight, nor for our use alone. Let it be such work as our descendants will look upon with praise and thanksgiving in their hearts. Lord Mayor Councillor Malcolm Kennedy, representative of the Liverpool City Council, Councillor Barry Kushner, representing Mayor Anderson, Liverpool City Region Mayor Steve Rutham, representatives of Engage Liverpool, dear Gary, Professor Michael Parkinson, representative of the local, national, and international organizations, citizens of Liverpool, dear friends, and dear colleagues. This quote from John Ruskin, one of the founding fathers of the modern notion of heritage, encapsulates brightly the ambition and the mission of the UNESCO World Heritage Convention. To share this ambition with you is the reason of my presence here. Let me say at first that I am deeply honored to be with you tonight in Liverpool and inaugurate the seminar Liverpool UNESCO World Heritage Site, a status worth fighting for. On behalf of the director of the World Heritage Center, Mechtild Rossler, I wish to express my special thanks to Engage Liverpool for this initiative and for the invitation extended to a UNESCO representative and to international experts, my distinguished colleagues Min Jae-young and Mike Turner. I also acknowledge the presence of all the participants and partners from local, national, and international organizations, NGOs, and civil society, and other stakeholders. I thank them for their concern for World Heritage protection. Indeed, Gary Proctor from Engage Liverpool, chair of Engage Liverpool, asked me to discuss with you on what an inscription on the World Heritage List means, what is entailed with a World Heritage Site. These are legitimate questions. All the more when the inscription on the World Heritage List has been prepared decades ago, and consequently, when we feel that the symbolic benefits of the international recognition will remain forever. But each World Heritage property is unique and universal. So let me rephrase the subject of our discussion tonight as follows. What Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City means for Liverpool, the city of the 21st century. John Ruskin once said also, architecture is the work of nations. You, citizens of Liverpool, are the nation. I am here only to be the voice of UNESCO, an institution whose mandate is to serve all nations. A couple of years after the London Conference, where UNESCO was founded in November 1945, and while all European countries were still facing with the wounds of the war, the nations have wished to work collectively and gather their efforts to protect the most iconic testimonies of their identity and the most important achievements of their culture. Thus, the first decades of the work of UNESCO were dedicated to ensuring that the heritage of nations is protected during armed conflict and against illicit trafficking. These are the objectives of the 1954 Convention and the 1970 Convention. But still, this tremendous accomplishment was not enough for the Assembly of Nations. The world's nations needed tangible and positive signs of their commitment in international cooperation for the safeguarding of their heritage. A commitment to an ambition their descendants will look upon with praise and thanksgiving in their hearts. To embody this ambition, states members of UNESCO have adopted in 1974 the Convention concerning the protection of the world cultural and natural heritage. Therefore, the first objective of the World Heritage Convention is to encourage the identification, protection, and preservation of cultural and natural heritage around the world, considered to be of outstanding value to humanity. And the second objective is, whenever this heritage is at a threat, to contribute through international cooperation to save, restore, preserve what has become the heritage of the whole humanity. Today, the 1974 Convention is still the most groundbreaking and universally ratified instruments to protect and promote the heritage of humanity. World Heritage Sites are inscribed on the World Heritage List because they have an outstanding universal value. What does this notion mean exactly? Outstanding universal value means that a site has a significance which is so exceptional as to transcend national boundaries and to be of common importance for present and future generations. Three pillars determine the outstanding universal value for cultural sites. First, the criteria. Second, integrity and authenticity. And third, protection and management. There are 6 criteria for cultural properties and 4 for natural properties. These criteria have been defined by the World Heritage Committee, which is the international body in charge of the implementation of the Convention. In the case of Liverpool, 3 criteria have demonstrated the outstanding universal value of the heritage, the World Heritage Site. All of them refer to the architectural legacy of the Liverpool city from the 18th century to the early 20th century. But the architectural legacy is the expression of a much wider system, the international mercantile systems built up by the British Empire throughout the British Commonwealth. Would the destiny of the United Kingdom have been the same without the early development of global trading and cultural connections that Liverpool, the maritime port city, symbolizes today? Of course not. And this is what the World Heritage status granted in 2004 to Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City acknowledged and means. When a property is inscribed on the World Heritage list, the World Heritage Committee adopts a statement of outstanding universal value that explains how the values of the site are embodied in physical elements. In the case of Liverpool, the innovative techniques and types of dock facilities, water basin, warehouse construction, are crucial physical elements transmitting the values of the World Heritage property. This statement is the key reference for the effective protection of the authenticity and the integrity of the property. The statement also provides details such as the national framework of legal protection and management system and specific long-term expectations. Hence, an essential part of the World Heritage status is how the site has been protected through time and how it will continue to be protected for the benefits of future generations. As you see, because it has complex and important consequences, the demonstration of the outstanding universal value is the result of a thoughtful process. The process involves local and regional administrative bodies, political authorities at local and national levels, together with national experts and international experts of ECOMOS, the advisory body to the Convention for Cultural Properties. So, why is it so difficult to identify the outstanding universal value of a site? It is difficult because the World Heritage List is not a list of monuments and landscapes. The World Heritage status is about telling to the world that one specific historic city, one specific landscape, one site of 1,000 kilometers or just a few square meters is a jewel because it embodies one part of the history of humanity. The status is about telling that this history speaks to humanity as a whole, with its goods and its wrongs, with its glory and its sorrows. When a site has been granted the World Heritage status, its legacy of glories and sorrows has become an integral part of the world history. This is the reason why, as the Convention states, the State Party and the international community have the collective responsibility to pass it on to future generations and to pass it on in its full authenticity and integrity. The mechanisms foreseen by the Convention to ensure that World Heritage is passed on to future generations are the legal protection and the management system of a site. Management goes hand in hand with a strong and unequivocal legal protection. The highest level of legal protection must apply to the core zone of the site. In the case of Liverpool, there are 6 main components that constitute the core zone. However, the buffer zone, the area surrounding the boundaries of the site, must also provide a second level of protection to the site, mainly to contribute to the maintenance of the specific historic townscape of the maritime city. In the United Kingdom, on a national level, planning policy statements in place relating directly to the protection and the management of World Heritage property stated that, quote, townscapes and landscapes with international designations should receive the highest level of protection, end of quote. To the question, what is entailed with a World Heritage Site? I hope that I succeeded in making clear that the absolute protection of its universal values is the most crucial investment for the future of the nation it represents. Liverpool authorities have made major and exemplary achievements in heritage rehabilitation that sustain fully all the values of Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City. The Museum of Liverpool and Main Island are the recent examples of the investment made in the past for the future. These projects have brought new architectural assets while contributing to the renovation and redevelopment of an important public space in the core zone of the property. On behalf of UNESCO, I wish to commend the Liverpool City Council and its partners for the scale and the quality of these projects, which combine new contemporary urban patterns with the historic docklands landscape. The regeneration of the Stanley Dock warehouses will also contribute, once fully achieved, to the conservation of major historic buildings of the historical assets of the site. Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of an intelligent effort. I quote Ruskin again. The decision to place Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City at the heart of Liverpool, the city of the 21st century, was not an accident. Conversely, the Liverpool Waters Development Project will change an authentic dockland landscape into a new landscape. The historical assets of the port industrial structures will disappear behind a new urban grid. The analysis of this different project for Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City is the result of a specific mechanism at the core of the convention, the monitoring of the state of conservation of properties. To help state parties to keep the outstanding universal values of properties while ensuring that heritage is fully integrated in a project for the future is the objective of the monitoring of the state of conservation of World Heritage properties. The state of conservation of the sites is monitored by the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies, ICOMOS, ICROM, IUCN for natural property, in close collaboration with the state party concerned. The state of conservation addresses potential damages to property from an increasing amount of threats, including major development and urbanizations. During this process, state parties provide information on any project which could potentially affect the outstanding universal value of a site. Information are then reviewed together with the advisory bodies in the case of cultural, ICOMOS and ICROM in the case of cultural sites, and the report is submitted to the World Heritage Committee for its decision. The World Heritage Committee has then a number of options. It may decide that the property has not seriously deteriorated and that no further action should be taken. It may decide that the property be maintained on the list, provided that the state party takes the necessary measures to restore the property within a reasonable period of time. It may decide that technical cooperation be provided under the World Heritage Fund for restoration of the property. It may inscribe the property on the list of World Heritage in danger. And finally, the committee may delete the property from the list. What is the situation for Liverpool? The state of conservation of the World Heritage Site has been closely monitored from the first years following the inscription on the World Heritage List. In particular, in regard to the assessment of impact related to new development inside the property and its surrounding buffer zone. A first mission from the World Heritage Center in Icomos was carried out in 2006 to assess the impact on the outstanding universal value of the pierhead constructions, including the new museum. Furthermore, in 2010, the United Kingdom notified UNESCO of the Liverpool Waters Development Scheme. Therefore, in 2011, a second mission visited the property. The mission noted English heritage objection to the large-scale proposed development and also emphasized the negative impact to the visual and historic values of the city, which would be lost in case the scheme was to be developed. In the following year, in 2012, the World Heritage Committee, at its 35th session, inscribed Liverpool on the list of World Heritage in danger, with the possibility of deletion should the Liverpool Waters project be approved. During 2013, the World Heritage Center and Icomos transmitted to the United Kingdom the first draft of an important document, the desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the list of World Heritage in danger. However, with great regret, the Liverpool Waters Outline Planning application was granted by the city in 2013 and was not called in by the Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government. Serious concerns over the potential threat of the development scheme to the outstanding universal value of the site have been since then repeated every year by the World Heritage Committee. Moreover, and over recent years, concern has been raised on the need to finalize the desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the list of World Heritage in danger, and to adopt corrective measures in agreement with all concerned parties. This document has been the subject of discussion during several previous committee sessions. Last year, in 2016, the committee requested the State Party of United Kingdom to ensure that no project receive approval until the completion of the desired state of conservation. This was followed with granting permission of the Moda Tower at Princess Dock within the buffer zone in September 2016, and new information in May and July 2017 regarding further developments in the same area. At the last session of the World Heritage Committee this year in July, the Liverpool state of conservation was opened for discussion with the rationale to leave room for further dialogue with the state party, and especially to address elements of major concern, which are the finalization of the DSOC and corrective measures, the decision-making mechanism, and the potential negative impact of recently approved high-rise buildings within the area of the large development project Liverpool Waters. The gap between the obligation of the state party in safeguarding the outstanding universal value and the Liverpool City Council in addressing appropriate planning mechanisms for Liverpool Waters development project and more generally in managing future large-scale developments has yet to be addressed. What are the next steps? After the last committee session in Krakow, the UK State Party is expected to address a series of important requests that are in line with all previous recommendations by the committee, including the commitment to reverse course and stop granting planning permission that impact or will impact on the outstanding universal value, and to link strategic development vision to a regulatory planning document. As it is in the spirit of the Convention and in the mandate of UNESCO, the World Heritage Center, together with the advisory body ICOMOS, will continue to be committed to promote collaboration and to engage in open dialogue with the State Party and all stakeholders. It is therefore with great pleasure that we have learned 2 days ago, through the media, the Mayor Joe Anderson initiative to create a special task force, the Liverpool World Heritage Board, to ensure Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City keeps its World Heritage status. We are convinced that this task force will work proactively to respond as soon as possible to the World Heritage Committee decisions. Lord Mayor, dear citizens of Liverpool, my presence here is not only to explain the World Heritage spirit and its processes. My presence here is to tell you that we at UNESCO care for Liverpool. We want to keep Liverpool on the World Heritage list, together with the Pyramid of Egypt, the temple in Angkor in Cambodia, and the Taj Mahal in India. But we need you to keep Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City on the World Heritage list. I thank you for your attention.